Meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, please come to order. This evening's meeting will be a virtual planning and zoning meeting via the Zoom platform. Our procedures will be as follows. 1, when you first enter the meeting, you will be in the virtual waiting room until the meeting host admits you. 2, please be aware that your camera, if you have one, and your microphone will be muted by the meeting host when you enter the meeting. You can turn on your camera at any time so you can be seen by others when and if you choose to. In order to run an efficient and orderly meeting in this new virtual environment, unless stated otherwise by the meeting chairman during the meeting host will keep everyone other than the commission members muted. You will still be able to hear everything said by the commission members, even if you are muted and your camera is not on. There will be the opportunity for public comment during the hearings, at which time public participants will be unmuted. 3, the secretary will read the legal call of the meeting as published according to Governor Lamont's Executive Order 7B. 4, during the public hearing, the applicant will be invited to present the application, explaining to the commission and others present what is being requested. The meeting host will share all related documents on the screen as needed. In addition, all applications and supporting materials for each application on the agenda are available through the public meeting calendar page on the town website, www.ci.guilford.ct.us, and also through a direct link on the planning and zoning page. 5, comments of town agencies will be read for each applicant. If there are any, there will be clarifying questions from commissioners. 6, there will be the opportunity for clarifying questions from the audience. Please raise your hand to the Zoom platform and wait to be called on and unmuted. First, those who wish to support the application may come forward. Second, those who oppose the application may then come forward. As this is a public hearing, it must be recorded. It is necessary for speakers to identify themselves each time they speak by stating their name and address. 7, the applicant will then have the opportunity to address any concerns raised by public commissioners. 8, once the public hearing is closed, the applicant is free to stay or remain for the balance of the public hearing and the regular meeting, during which the commission will try and reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing as the decision of this commission has the right to appeal to Superior Court if desired. 9, decisions of this meeting are available the day after the meeting by calling Planning and Zoning at 203-453-8039 or by emailing planning.zoning@ci.guilford.ct.us after 9 a.m. 10, all actions taken by the commission will be on a roll call vote. All commissioners and staff will identify themselves for the record before speaking. Seated this evening are the following commissioners: Scott Edmund, thank you; Frank DeAndrea, Richard Wallace. There's Alan Brown. Welcome, Alan. Bill Freeman. Did Matt Yurzinski show or not?
No,
Okay.
Sean is here.
Oh, hi, Sean. Welcome. Sean Cosgrove. And I'm Phil Johnson. So 1, 2, 3, 6. So Bill, you'll be seated tonight as opposed to being an alternate. So terrific. Welcome aboard. First item on our agenda, Leak Properties
Call the
LLC.
meeting.
Pardon me?
Call the meeting.
Yes, would you
Legal.
read the legal notice, please? Sorry, jumping the gun.
Sorry to give you a problem with that. Notice is hereby given that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on December 2nd, 2020. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will be conducted through a web and phone meeting only. Attendees are advised not to go to the regular community center location because a physical meeting will not take place. The following information for the Zoom meeting is below. It's meeting number 976-1048-5641. The following applications will be heard. Leap Properties LLC, Mark Knapp, 94 Great Harbor Road, map 7, lot 7, zone RS1, coastal site plan and special permit per section 273-15G for construction of a single-family house on a lot less than 10,000 square feet. Copies of this application is available for inspection in the Planning and Zoning Office and on the town's website, www.ci.guilford.ct.us. At this hearing, persons may attend by either phone or web connection and shall be heard. Pursuant to the governor's executive Order 7B, any materials relevant to matters on the agenda, including but not limited to the materials related to specific applications. If applicable, shall be submitted to the agency a minimum of 24 hours prior and posted to the agency's website for public inspection prior to, during, and after the meeting. And any exhibits to be submitted by members of the public shall, to the extent feasible, be submitted to the agency a minimum of 24 hours prior to the meeting and posted on the agency's website for public inspection prior to, during, and after the meeting. All written correspondence shall be submitted to planning.zoning@ci.guilford.ct.us. Documents are available at the Planning and Zoning Office, 203-453-8039 for assistance. In accordance with the Governor's Executive Order 71, this legal notice is being published on the Town of Guilford website, www.ci.guilford.ct.us, dated the 16th day of November, 2020. Phil Johnson, Chairman.
Very good. Thank you very much. First order of business is Leap Properties LLC, Mark Knapp, 94 Great Harbor Road, map 7, lot 7, zone RS1, coastal site plan application and special permit per section 273-15G for construction of a single family house on a lot that has less than 10,000 square feet. Did see Mark here, but are you presenting for yourself or do you have?
No, Mr. Chairman.
My design professional will be presenting on my behalf.
Very good. Thank you.
Good.
Yes.
Go ahead,
All right.
Michael.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Michael Harkin. I'm a professional engineer and principal of Harkin Engineering, located at 78 Wolf Hollow Lane in the town of Killingworth, Connecticut. Again, here tonight on behalf of my client, Leeds Properties LLC, Mark Knapp, who is the owner, who is also on. And then again, the location of the subject site is 94 Great Harbor Road, known as map 7, lot 7, again, located in the RS1 zone. So you've seen this application before, a previous application, I should say. I believe it's been on the docket for around 12 months. This is a completely new application, erase everything that has happened prior. There's a new project team and this is a completely new project and we'll go over it. The surveyor of record hired by Mr. Knapp is Waldo and Associates LLC. The civil engineering firm of record is Harkin Engineering LLC. The surveyor firm basically did the survey, the A2 T2 survey. Our office handled the CAM application, the special exception application, as well as the design of the septic system. So Aaron, do you want to allow me to present or do you want to put your screen up for share screen?
That work?
That'll work. Basically what you have in front of us is our sheet. It's the site plan. Again, the base survey by Waldo is underneath it. All of our design stuff is on top of the original survey. So again, the subject site faces Great Harbor Road. The rear of the property actually faces Long Island Sound, Joshua Cove. Along that back side where the cursor is, there's an existing seawall. Mr. Knapp has previously gotten a COP for that seawall. So that is all set and taken care of. So the front of the property will be entering the site through the existing driveway. There's an existing garage that will remain off to the east side. As we come down the driveway, the house that's proposed is a proposed 3-bedroom house, virtually located in the same exact location as the previous house that burnt down. The square footage for this house is actually less than the original house that burnt down. And because we have a flood zone line that goes through that existing location, a VE15, we have to raise that structure to make it FEMA compliant. So that structure will be raised. That's part of the whole FEMA, again, requirement of rebuilding within a flood zone. The subsequent 3-bedroom house will have a brand new septic system. The septic system will be located between the garage and the proposed house. It is kind of a raised system, so we have a small wall around the outside of it. It's approximately 2 feet. The existing system that served the original house was basically just a cesspool. It was located approximately, I would think it was 30 feet from Long Island Sound. So basically the flows for this are a lot further away from Long Island Sound, which actually works in the benefit of keeping the sound clean of any harmful bacteria coming from the septic system. So utilities, there's an existing well in our site located in the front of the property. Again, we'll be utilizing that. On the side of the garage, we have placed 2 propane tanks, and that will serve for the heat source, the gas source for the furnace for the project. And then the utilities, there's an existing telephone out in the front of the property. We'll be bringing those underground and then coming down the driveway along the adjacent property line and then tying into the house. Again, because the house is raised, it's a pier system, so it's lifted up. You know, I'm pretty going to keep this presentation short. And the reason for that is you'll see in your record, we have favorable approval letter from DEP. We have a favorable approval letter from the health department. Because of the location of the septic system, we had to go to the state of Connecticut for 2 well exceptions. We have a positive approval from the state of Connecticut for the 2 well exceptions. We'll have a favorable letter, I believe, from your environmental officer. And then we have a favorable letter from the town engineer regarding this project. So it's also important to note that we do have a letter from a neighbor in support of the application. I think that will be read into the record as well. And it's also important to note that we've had multiple meetings with the zoning enforcement officer on this. The project that you see here meets 100% of the zoning regulations as far as setbacks and coverage and things of that nature. So with that being said, I'll end my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
We got a bunch of stuff to get through, so why don't we jump through some of the letters, and then if those inspire some questions, we'll go from there. Is that all right, Mike?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, first letter I'll take is from Sonia Marino. She's the health officer, I believe. December 2nd, 2020, 94 Great Harbor Road, map 7, lot 7, rebuild a house. The project at the above referenced property requires a well exception to the septic system from the Connecticut DPH Environmental Engineering Program, EEP. The local health department has reviewed the proposal as well. Attached is the conditional approval for the well exception from the CT DPH EEP. Please note the list of requirements from the state will be part of the approval process from the local health department. Please note that the health department approval does not allow for an increase in design flow and or building addition. The health department approval is contingent on the septic system being installed in accordance with the engineered plan designed by Michael Harkin, PE, dated October 14th, 2020. And then there is a letter from the state of Connecticut Department of Health. Scott, you want to grab that one?
Notice of exception. An exception is hereby granted to the requirements of the technical standards IIA of Regulation 19-13-B103 of the Public Health Code of the State of Connecticut for the replacement of a sewage disposal system on the Knapp property, 94 Great Harbor Road in the town of Guilford, Connecticut. It has been found that the wells located at the subject property 93 Great Harbor Road and 95 Great Harbor Road are unlikely to be polluted in such a manner as to cause a health hazard, provided 1, the replacement of septic tank and leaching system be installed not less than 50 feet and 30 feet respectively to the existing private wells serving 94 Great Harbor Road. The replacement septic tank and leaching system be installed not less than 43 feet and 40 feet respectively to the existing private well serving 93 Great Harbor Road. The replacement leaching system be installed not less than 60 feet to the existing private well serving 94 Great Harbor Road. 4, the installation is inspected and approved by the Guilford Health Department. 5, the existing septic tank and any unused hollow leaching structures be properly abandoned. 6, all exceptions granted be noted on the permit to discharge. It is strongly recommended that all affected wells be tested for potability prior to installation of the proposed repair. Recorded at the Department of Public Health, Hartford, Connecticut, 12/02/2020. Matthew Pollock.
Thank you very much. We also have a letter from Janice Plasiak, our town engineer. Frank, do you want to grab that one?
Muted.
Muted. Somebody unmute Frank.
I'm unmuted. You got me?
Yep, you're
Yes.
good.
All right. So this is from Janice Plasiak, Town Engineer, dated November 30th, 2020, 94 Great Harbor Road, CAM. I reviewed the site development plan for the above referenced property. The proposed house construction appears to be compliant with the town Guilford floodplain management requirements for a structure in the VE 15 zone with the top of the pier elevation of 16 feet. Further detailed review of the proposed building construction for flood compliance will be done at the time of the building permit and flood hazard permit application with more detailed plans. This plan moves the building into the special flood hazard area SFHA with coastal construction methods proposed. Retaining walls are still needed for the septic system, but they are proposed outside of the SFHA. The removal of retaining walls from the SFHA is an improvement as waves will be free of obstruction compared to the previous plan that was contemplated for this site.
Very good. Thank you, Frank. We also have a letter from Kevin McGee, our environmental planner. Sean, you want to grab that one? Sean with us still? There he is. Hold on, you're muted.
Muted too.
Okay.
You're good.
December 1st from Kevin McGee, environmental planner, regarding coastal area management review, Mark Knapp, 94 Great Harbor Road, Guilford, Connecticut, Assessor Map 7, Lot 7. The applicant is proposing to reconstruct a year-round residence with a new septic system located adjacent to Great Harbor. No stormwater management practices have been proposed as part of this application. The coastal resource policies applicable for the property are coastal hazard area, rocky shorefront, coastal waters, intertidal flats, and shellfish concentration areas. The site plan provides for erosion and sedimentation control measures that are designed to protect the adjacent coastal resources. The work being conducted could have an impact on the adjacent coastal resources if the erosion control and sedimentation control measures are not properly installed and maintained. In order to make sure that the coastal resources are protected, I recommend the following conditions of approval. Number 1, in accordance with Section L of the Coastal Area Management Regulations, the applicant should consider a low impact design for stormwater, such as stone trench placed under the drip line of the roof eaves. Number 2, the town of Guilford zoning enforcement officer should be notified to inspect the sedimentation and erosion control measures prior to any demolition or site construction. Soil stock piles should be contained by silt fencing and or hay bales. Soil erosion and sedimentation control measures shall be maintained until vegetation is established or suitable material is installed to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement. Number 3, the site should be inspected daily to make sure that all construction debris has been properly disposed of in a covered dumpster.
Very good. Thank you very much. There is a letter that's been submitted by Jonathan W. Sibley. Alan, you want to grab that one?
Is to indicate that my support for you and the application for the special permit to be issued. And his name is Meredith Sibley, 94 Rockledge Circle Cottage, Leeds Island Road, Guilford, Connecticut, 06437.
Very much. That is it with respect to the public notices, I believe.
We have a letter from Deep.
Okay. So who am I got? Bill Freeman, how about you grab the deep? Where's the deep letter?
It's up.
Thank you. Sent via email November 19th, 2020, Planning and Zoning Commission, Town of Guilford, CO Kevin McGee, Environmental Planner, 50 Boston Street, Guilford, Connecticut, 06437. Connecticut Deep Coastal Site Plan Review, 94 Great Harbor Road. Dear Commissioners, thank you for referring this coastal site plan review received October 28, 2020 to the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection's Land and Water Use Division Department for our review and comment. The subject property is an undersized waterfront lot of 7,243 square feet, which hosts a garage, and the foundation remains of a single-family residence lost in a fire. A small portion comprising the northeastern corner of the property is located in an AE zone elevation 11. The new 1,440 square foot elevated year-round private residence is proposed primarily for the VE zone elevation 15 and partially in zone X or X zone. The first floor elevation is proposed at 17 feet. The existing garage will remain. The coastal resources at the site are significant and include rocky shorefront, coastal waters, coastal hazard zone, zones AE elevation 11, VE elevation 15, and X. FEMA's flood zone lines are not exact and may differ by as much as 15 feet. Flood zones are coastal resources that should be reserved for their intended purpose to allow free flow of floodwaters across land and property inland. Based on the previous comments made by the Department of the Commission on the earlier proposal in the letter dated March 5th, 2020, the applicant is now proposing a new engineered septic system with the associated fill and 3-foot containment walls of the VE zone and into the X zone. Additionally, in response to the department's request, it has said comments in said comments letter, the applicant has since applied for and been issued a certificate of permission license number 202005206-COP to retain, authorize a 18-inch by 52-foot concrete mortared seawall and a 3-foot by 7.7-foot stone stairway at the site. As the site is a small waterfront lot, it at no time should sediment or be resulting from the proposed activity be caused or allowed to enter the coastal waters. To prevent pollution of coastal waters, adequate sedimentation and erosion controls should be installed prior to the commencement of work activities and should be monitored daily for gaps in or openings, immediately repaired if gaps or openings are found, and maintained in optimal operating conditions until the project is completed and the site is stabilized. Upon site stabilization, any and all such controls should be removed entirely and properly disposed of upland and out of coastal waters. These comments do not necessarily reflect any local planning, zoning, or ZBA variance considerations that may apply. We hope these comments are helpful to the Commission. For reference and overview of the state's coastal management program is enclosed. Should you have questions on this letter or any of the coastal management matter, please contact me at jamie.sydorik@ct.gov. Best regards, Jamie Swindoriak, Environmental Analyst, Land and Water Resources Division, Bureau of Water Protection and Land Reuse.
Thank you very much. So I think that ends the notices that we have to read in. I do have a quick question, Mark. Is there any, I saw that you are proposing 2 propane tanks. Are they anchored in any way, or is it not necessary where they're located?
Yep, you meant
They're
Mike.
going-
The propane tanks will be anchored. They have to be anchored because they are in a FEMA flood zone. And when he pulls a building permit, they will be anchored accordingly.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You- Mike, can you, or Mark, can you clarify the square footage? That Deep's mentioned 1,400 square foot, but I thought it was less than that.
You're correct.
Yeah.
It is less.
Michael mentioned a 2-foot wall, but the letter mentioned a 3-foot wall around the septic. Is that just nuance?
Yeah, the reason for that is on our plan, it calls for a 3-foot high max wall. And then the actual spot shots that we put on our plan are for a 2-foot wall. And the reason we put 3 foot is kind of that's the maximum height you can go without having the wall technically be engineered.
Okay.
So ask for a little more and then build a little less.
Yes, sir.
And Mike, just to speak to your statement of complying with the zoning regulations, that is for a variance was granted for lot coverage.
Yes, that is correct. A variance was previously granted for lot coverage.
Okay.
With that, I'll put it back to other commissioners. Does anyone have any questions with respect to this application? No. Are there any questions from the public with respect to, and again, we'll get to comments for and against. So if you have any questions with respect to what's being proposed, raise your hand, we can call on you. If you don't have your video up, then I can't see if
Yep,
you're raising your hand.
Sandy has a question. Is it
Okay.
Sandy Conlon?
Hi, Sandy. Could you state your name and address for the record and then state your question?
Sandy, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Sandy, can you hear us? She's not muted, and
No,
all right, well, if we can
I'm
get
not
Sandy.
sure audio is connected.
Yeah, well, if we can,
Try to call in Sandy if you
yeah,
can.
Sandy, if you can call in, that would be great. We're happy to hear your question, but we're gonna move forward. I didn't see any other questions from the public. So would anyone like to speak in favor of this application? Would anyone like to speak against this application? I'm going to put it out to the commissioners. As you guys know, we have a 2-meeting requirement for special permits.
Oh,
But-
Ben, excuse me, Mr. Chair, perhaps Ben Conlon may be able to speak for, or Sandy maybe with Ben.
Ben or Sandy, do you have any
I'm here.
questions or comments?
Here, yes, sorry, I'm just waiting for my mom's.
It's okay.
question. Give us just 1 minute. Not sure what's
Sure.
going on for audio. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. We're flexible. Well, while we're waiting on Ben, I'll just have commissioners think about whether or not you believe we need a second public hearing for this, or whether or not this can be acted on this evening. But we'll discuss that after we field Ben and Sandy's question.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm ready if you are, I
Sure.
believe.
So if you could state your name and address for the
Sure.
record, that would be great.
My name's Ben Conlon, and my family owns the house on either side of the property. And my parents were wondering, in the site plan, it talks about removing the fence between the properties. And I believe, could be wrong. So I just wanted to see if we get some clarification on that. In terms of if that's part of the plan or what.
Yep, if you guys give me 1 second, because I don't remember that comment or quote. So let me just check my plans real quick.
And share that up here too, Michael.
Basically, item number 7 or call out number 7, the exact context is, and I can read it off my plans, existing fence and appurtenances. So the fence is there to be removed and replaced as necessary in order to perform the proposed work. The reality is technically the fence shouldn't have to be removed, but I have to make that physical call out for anybody that is doing work over there. Because the fence is physically on 94 Great Harbor Road, they're allowed to take it up and they want it put back. So in order to perform the work, if it's in the way at any cost, they're allowed to take it down and put it back up. That's basically what we're saying.
Does that make sense, Ben?
Yeah, I think we understand. Also, I assume there'll be a dumpster for the construction. Do they have any information about where that would be put?
As of right now, that's more of a construction type of thing, and I don't think that has been thought out as of yet. Generally, it'll probably go in between the proposed garage and house, basically where the septic is, while they have construction going on. Generally, the septic system is the last thing to be put in for new construction. So, that's a reasonable spot, or it could just be put in the driveway area. But, we haven't really given that much thought because we haven't been approved yet, and we're not even in the permitting process. But again, because the lot is tight, you're not going to see this big 40-yard dumpster in there. You can't make the swing distance, so it'll be a smaller size dumpster that comes in and out.
Great, thank you. The last question is just.
Can I just tack on to that very quickly?
Sure.
It is a modular, this is Mark, it is a modular construction, so there should not be a lot of construction debris from the actual building itself.
Thank you.
And the last question was just in the site plan, does the back of the home have no windows?
Mark can speak again to that matter because that's his house.
The back, could you clarify? This is Mark, could you clarify?
Sure. On the roadside.
There will be 2 windows on the roadside.
Okay, thank you very much.
Terrific. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of or against this application? Very good. I'll put it to the commissioners. How do you guys feel about acting on this evening? As you know, we need a supermajority in order to waive the second public hearing. I think, as all of you know, this has been on our agenda for a long time, and in my opinion, the applicant and Mr. Harkin have gone to great lengths to address concerns from the state, from the health department, from the DEP, and I commend them for their efforts at getting this right. So I'm in favor of it. Scott, how do you feel about it?
Yep.
How about you, Richard?
I was going to say exactly the same things you just said. It's been on our plate a long time. They've in good faith and did due diligence come back with a super plan.
Yep, terrific. Bill, how about you? You okay?
Yep.
Okay, Alan?
I'm good for it.
Okay, Sean
Yes.
and Frank.
Yep,
So would someone like to make a motion to waive the second public hearing?
so moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. I'll call the vote. Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Scott Edmund,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes,
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Alan Brown, Bill Freeman,
Yes.
and I will also vote to waive the second public hearing. So we'll act on that this evening.
I'll motion to close.
Thank you. Someone want to second that?
second.
Great. Sean Cosgrove? Motion to close. You good with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Scott Edmund,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Aye,
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Alan Brown, Bill Freeman,
Yes.
Phil Johnson. For the record, Alan, I heard it just very so slightly say yes, but just in case it wasn't clear. So we will discuss that one tonight. Next item on our agenda is J.J. Sullivan, Inc., 229 River Street, map 39, lot 12, zone C4. This is a site plan and coastal site plan application to construct a 6-foot by 36-foot canopy over existing fueling station. Is there someone here to present on behalf of J.J. Sullivan?
Yes, good evening. My name is Rob Sonicson. I'm a registered professional engineer with the firm of Waldo and Associates. Our office is on 89 State Street in Guilford. With me tonight is Dirk Goss from my office and Jim Sullivan from J.J. Sullivan Incorporated. I guess if Aaron can put up the site plan, it would probably be a good place to start.
Could zoom out initially so you can get the layout, and then I'm happy to zoom in closer.
Okay. Just as a little bit of background, I won't go into any great detail, but Sullivan's have been making improvements to their terminal facility over the years, and they've been focusing on both changes in the marketplace. They don't sell the same products anymore in some cases, and also upgrading their safety and environmental protocol in the terminal. In 2018, 8 above ground fuel storage tanks with a total capacity of 84,000 gallons were removed from the yard area and disposed of. Also in 2018, the 200,000 gallon oil storage tank, which is on the north side of the property site, it's now essentially the only fuel storage tank in the yard that remains. It was completely inspected, and a new floor was installed in the tank as a safety measure improvement. In December of 2019, just a year ago now, a CAM application and site plan were filed to complete the first phase of containment improvements for the 200,000 gallon tank. It's part of the spill prevention and countermeasure plan that is managed by the EPA, that's required for a terminal of this nature because of the amount of storage that they have, particularly above ground storage. The first phase of the improvements were improvement of the expansion of the containment area. There's a concrete wall that surrounds the 200,000 gallon tank, and it's a containment that contains 100% of the capacity of the tank, as well as the total volume of a 25-year rainstorm as a requirement for the SPCC plan. In order to be able to expand that containment, the concrete wall had to be raised and expanded to the north, and that was the subject of a CAM application that came before your commission. In addition, an impermeable membrane covers the entire floor of the containment area around the tank. The soil in that area is fairly sandy, and it didn't have any impermeable coverage, and the membrane now makes that containment area completely impermeable. There were also some improvements made to the plumbing that led to the delivery stanchion and some electrical improvements at that time, and that was approved after our application in December of 2019. That brings us to the current application, which was submitted on October 22nd. It's the last phase of these safety improvements, and it's for construction of a canopy, which is very similar to the canopies you see at every gasoline station. And the canopy is going to cover the area where the trucks fill their tanks from the 200,000 gallon storage tank. And we took a photo and overlaid the canopy to show you what it looks like, and it's shown on the site plan. The canopy, just to clarify, is 36 feet long, which is left to right on the photo, and it is 16 feet wide. 16 feet wide will cover the truck that pulls under the canopy and prevent it from, protect the driver and the operator from any kind of foul weather that occurs. It just so happens, and it's kind of intuitive, but the busiest season for J.J. Sullivan is the winter, when the weather is the harshest, and there's ice issues and things like that. Currently, and previously, the filling stanchion, which the drivers have to really climb up on top of the truck and fill most of the trucks from the top. About half of Sullivan's trucks are filled from the top, half can be filled from the bottom. But this canopy is going to really protect the drivers and be a tremendous added safety feature. It's going to be a great improvement. And that's really the basis for the application. We were going to go forward last meeting, but the DEEP didn't think they were going to get their letter in time. They got it in just before the meeting, but we did go forward and have a meeting with the Design Review Committee on the 18th of November. And we had a nice discussion with the Design Review Committee. They were obviously interested in the aesthetic things that the Design Review Committee is concerned about and should be. They were very supportive of the project, and they had some suggestions with regard to the color of the canopy fascia. And that's something that's part of your record. And J.J. Sullivan has indicated that they will absolutely comply with the recommendations of the Design Review Committee with regard to color that the fascia of the canopy will be painted. The plans contain full detailed structural drawings. Calculations were undertaken to show that the canopy will resist the wind loads and the snow loads that are mandated by the State Basic Building Code for this area. And the project has been designed and certified by registered professional engineers as being appropriate for this use. And that's the summary that I have for the application tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have about it.
We have a couple of letters to read in from the state and from the town. So I'll grab the one from the Connecticut DEP, to Planning and Zoning Commission, RE J.J. Sullivan, 229 River Street. Dear Commission members, I am writing with regard to the above reference application for a coastal site plan review received by the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection's Land and Water Resources Division, LWRD, on October 7th, 2020. We have reviewed the application materials prepared by Coastline Consulting and Development, LLC, for its consistency with standards and policies of the Connecticut Coastal Management Act, CCMA, Connecticut General Statutes 22A-90 through 22A-112 inclusive. The application proposes to build a 16-foot by 36-foot long by 22-foot high canopy over an existing fuel stanchion and adjacent to an existing fuel storage tank containment area to facilitate the delivery of truck fueling during periods of inclement weather, to be designed for compliance with fuel delivery area fire code regulations. The subject property is not waterfront lot, but is used as a private commercial fuel retailer and does not support a water dependent facility such as a commercial marina, yacht, or port. Coastal resources at the site include coastal flood hazard areas, tidal wetlands adjacent across the street. LWRD has reviewed the proposal and has determined it to be consistent with the goals and policies of the CCMA. Based upon this review, LWRD offers the following comments for the Commission's considerations. One, the proposal is located within the FEMA Special Flood Hazard Area AE elevation 10. 2, the canopy is proposed over currently existing developed and impervious surface and will not result in increased impervious coverage. Downspouts are proposed to direct runoff to an existing site catch basin, oil separator, and River Street stormwater drainage system. 3, the proposed canopy will be supported by columns anchored by 5-foot by 5-foot concrete footings to be buried underground, thereby securing the secured during flood events. These comments do not necessarily reflect other local planning, zoning, or ZBA variance considerations that may apply. We hope that these comments are helpful to the commission for reference. The overview on the state's coastal management program is enclosed. Should you have any questions on this letter or any other coastal management matter, please contact me at jamiesidoriak@cp.gov. Best regards. Good. So they're all happy with you. We have a letter also from our health director. So Alan, you want to grab that one?
Yep, Kevin McGee,
Oh,
environmental.
hold on. No, this is the one from Sonia.
Oh, Sonia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Planning and zoning, Sonia Marino, RS, MPH, November 17th, 2020. 229 River Street map 39 lot 12 6 by 36 canopy. The application for a 636 canopy over the fuel station is located location at the property reference above meets the requirements of 419-13-H100A. The proposal structure does not reduce the potential repair area for the on-site subsurface sewage disposal system. These also adequate separation distance between the shed and the existing system.
Great. I think the requirement was for 1913B 100A, but that's just, we'll just put that in for the record.
Hey,
Okay.
Phil, just a clarification. I think it was 16 by 36, not 6 by 36.
Okay.
Right.
That's correct. So we'll note that change is 16 by 36, not 6. Thanks, Sean. Sean, will you grab the note from Kevin McGee, the environmental planner?
Kevin McGee, dated November 17th, regarding coastal area management review, J.J. Sullivan, 229 River Street, Guilford, Connecticut. Assessor map 39, lot 12. The applicant is proposing to install a canopy over the fueling stanchion for oil delivery trucks. The canopy would help reduce the spread of any minor spills which may occur during a rain event. The site plan does not include an erosion and sedimentation control measures. The work being conducted would have minor impact on the adjacent coastal resources if the erosion and sedimentation control measures are not properly installed and maintained. In order to make sure that the coastal resources are protected, I recommend the following conditions of approval. Number 1, the catch basin located to the west of the work area should be protected with sediment and erosion control measures. Any soil being removed for the construction of the footing should be placed into a truck and removed from the site. The Town of Guilford zoning enforcement officer should be notified to inspect the sedimentation and erosion control measures prior to any site construction.
Great. Thank you very much. This is obviously a site plan and a CAM. Are there any questions from commissioners with respect to this?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Richard.
I have a question. I remember the last project at River Street that came before us. This goes to Rob and the gang over there. Is there going to be lighting? And if so, because I realize of after hours working, is there going to be lighting? And if so, has there been mitigation to the people on State Street?
The answer is that there is a plan for lighting under the canopy. It would be downlighting directed strictly from the canopy. This time of the year, as you know, it gets dark very early and the trucks are sometimes operating after dark. And as a safety measure, there will be 2 flush mounted lights. We're expecting 2 flush mounted lights underneath the canopy shining down on the truck.
Okay, and I would.
Thank you.
I believe that the Sullivans live directly across the street. Is that correct?
Yes.
So they themselves are probably the most impacted, but I would just point that out. But thank you, Richard. Are there any other questions from commissioners? I will put it out. Any questions from the public with respect? Yes, Winnie's iPad. Could you state your?
Yes, this is
name?
Winnie Seibert, 78 Fair Street.
Mhm.
And I would like to just put forth if this tank, if this cover could be moved back so that it is completely behind the existing tank, that would not impede the neighbors the way what has happened already, that we have had to put a lot of money into a fence in order to protect our property from all of the trees and such that were taken out with the holding tank. So I just put that forth.
I believe that would be somewhat problematic from the standpoint that the stanchion for the tank comes out directly where the proposed covering is. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Waldo. I'm going to just do a quick screen share if that's all right. So this, and obviously this photo is from last September of 2009, so more than a year ago, when all the other work was being done. But I believe that this is the stanchion that fuel that brings the fuel to the tank. So actually moving any type of an overhang to over here is what I believe you're suggesting.
I'm moving it in the other direction so that it would be behind the tank itself.
Back here?
Where the red car is. Yeah, on that side, I believe.
Well, I believe this is where it's going, right here.
That's right. And if it gets moved to the right a little bit, then it would be behind the tank rather than sticking out in front of the tank.
So are you suggesting moving it in?
No, I'm suggesting moving it to the right. Yeah.
Closer to Fair Street would, and that being the effect of.
So that it is behind the existing tank.
Again,
is that with relation to your home there, right on the above?
We have already had to spend a great deal of money putting up a fence between our property and what has already happened on Sullivan's property, and it makes sense to us not to have something sticking out that may be shown to our property.
I certainly appreciate your concerns, but I would also reiterate that the whole containment system that they built, and I'm sure at significant expense, created an incredible safety benefit for everybody with respect to potential leakage. So I am certainly sensitive.
I completely agree with your statement, but at the same time, there was never a hearing for us to talk about how this was going to happen.
The containment?
The containment, there was no hearing on it until after it was all done.
Oh, it did come before us, did it not, George?
I believe it did, yes.
So we
It did come before and it was an after the fact permit.
Exactly.
well, hopefully we're addressing those things in advance to the best of our abilities now. And I'm sensitive
But
to your,
it has significantly affected our property, which is right behind it. And I bring up that I would like to see that the containment tank does not, this containment, excuse me, that this new project does not compromise our property even more.
I would note that probably the biggest concern would be lighting. And that Mr. Waldo has expressed that they would only have 2 downlights within the structure. So it would be much less impactful in putting area floods. So I would again note the lengths that they're going to try and make this as least impactful as it can be. But I would put it back.
I wonder, could Mr. Waldo speak to the suggestion about moving the canopy and the feasibility of that?
I
Could
can
see
also-
the plot plan again, please?
I'd like to also remind us that our public hearing is with respect to coastal impacts, as this is not a special permit application. This is a site plan approval and a coastal
Got it. Thank you
application.
for the clarification, Aaron.
The delivery stanchion for this facility has been in the same position that it is currently for many years. There hasn't been any movement of it. All of the plumbing for the tank delivery and discharge has been located in the central location that it currently is. And the plumbing was redone last year under the permit that was granted for doing the containment. And there's really no feasible way of moving the delivery stanchions and moving the canopy so that it's not protecting the delivery stanchion and the drivers just really doesn't make any sense at all. The canopy is absolutely located in the most appropriate location to protect the drivers and to improve the safety of the terminal in general. And it's going to be painted, the fascia is going to be painted in a gray tone, which was what the design review committee suggested. And a substantial portion of the canopy is going to be, it's on the south side of the tank, and it really is going to be obscured from any view from the north.
Thank you. Aaron, is there anything else that we need to check with respect to the CAM and/or site plan revision?
I believe we have all of our letters in as far as comments.
Well, we did have a question, but we don't have to take comments for and against, do we? As this is a site plan?
No,
With respect to the site plan, right? The site plan is not subject to a public hearing. The coastal application is what the public hearing is for tonight.
Okay, so would anyone like to speak in favor or against the coastal area management aspect of this application? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to close?
You're screwed, Ed.
Would someone like to make a motion to close?
Make a motion to close.
Second. I'll call the vote. Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Scott Edmund,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes.
Richard Wallace. Richard? You're muted, Richard. Raise your hand, Richard, if you're okay with it.
Yes.
Okay.
You.
Alan Brown,
Yes.
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
and I will also vote to close. Okay, let's get back to our public deliberation. Would someone like to make a motion with respect to Mark Knapp's project?
If you don't mind, I'll get that.
Great.
We're muted, right?
I'm not muted.
No, here you go. Your camera is tipped quite out of view, but other than that.
Yeah, it's,
Voted. The Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a special permit and coastal area management application for a new dwelling at 94 Great Harbor Road, map 7, lot 7, as shown on the, we'll say the drawings or the plan developed by Harkin Engineering.
Good.
The application is approved based with the following conditions, those specified by Kevin McGee.
Yep. And
The
by the,
application is approved based
hold
on,
on, another
and by
condition
D-
should be conditions noted by the Connecticut Department of Public Health with respect to placement.
public health, not DEP. Correct. The application is approved based on a finding that with variance granted, it conforms with the zoning code and is consistent with the coastal management policies of the state of Connecticut. The special permit is effective on October 16, 2020, and upon filing with the town clerk. I think we have to change the date on the, from October.
Would be next,
Yes. Next Friday.
next Friday.
So that would be the
11th.
18th. 11th of December 11th, 2020.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. I mean, I think we talked about this one quite a bit. They went to great lengths to meet all the needs and desires of the town, the state, and I thank them for doing that. Thank you, Mark. Any other comments from commissioners?
Also, it's effectively replacing what was there, so it's.
Well, and it's not only replacing it, it's replacing it with the flood
Right.
resistant, nothing flood proof, but flood resistant structure.
Absolutely.
You got a much better chance of not getting it taken out in a big flood. So we have a motion, a second. I'll call the vote. All in favor, Sean Cosgrove,
yes.
Scott Edmund,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes,
Alan Brown. Alan Brown.
Yes.
Okay, there's a delay. And I will also vote yes. Mark,
All right.
enjoy your construction project. Thank you for your patience and going through the motion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mike.
Next item is someone would like to make a motion with respect to JJ Sullivan.
I'll make it. The Planning and Zoning Commission approves this site plan and coastal site plan application for construction of a canopy over the existing fuel station at 229 River Street, map 39, lot 12, as shown on the application dated October 21st, 2020, and site plan properly of J.J. Sullivan Incorporated. 3 sheets dated September 8th, 2010, received to September 16th, 2020, prepared by Waldo and Associates LLC and VFS. The application is approved with the following conditions. That the recommendations of the Design Review Committee be considered. This application is approved based upon the finding that it conforms with the zoning code and consists with the coastal management policies of the state of Connecticut.
I would also have you add on the recommendations of Kevin McGee. That okay with you?
Want me to say it?
Yeah, sure. It's your motion.
With the recommendations from Kevin McGee.
Very good.
Second.
Okay, discussion? I mean, in my opinion, anytime you're building something, someone's going to be impacted. And I remember when I was interviewed for this position, someone asked about my take on planning and zoning, and our job is to assist with the orderly development. And this, certainly is, they've gone to lengths to make sure that the drivers are safe and protected. I do appreciate it can have some impact upon neighbors, but it's just a site plan and a CAM, so it's not a special permit with respect to our consideration. But I would put it to other commissioners. If you'd like to say something about it, we can have further discussion, or we can put it to a vote. Anyone have any comments or strong feelings?
I think it's for the safety of the men that work there, and moving the canopy certainly wouldn't protect them at all. So it doesn't seem to be a logical thing to do. I'm sorry for the persons that have to view it, but the safety of the people that are working there, I think it's important to have this.
I agree with you, Alan.
I appreciate that they went to design review and are gonna consider their suggestions as well.
As they probably know, design review is advisory to us, so we're not required to incorporate it, but we do appreciate you going to them and giving strong consideration to their recommendations. So, anyone else good? We call the vote. Bill Freeman.
Yes.
Alan Brown.
Yes.
Richard Wallace.
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea.
Yes.
Scott Edmund.
Yes.
Sean Cosgrove.
Yes.
And I will also vote yes. Thank you very much for coming with your application. It is approved upon filing with the town clerk, I believe. Is that the right wording, Aaron?
Actually, no, it doesn't
No?
need, it's a site plan. It doesn't need to be filed with the town.
Plan
clerk.
with who? You?
And CAM goes to the state.
Okay. Pending applications then. Helen Mayer, 149 West Lane, map 5, lot 28, zone R5, coastal site plan and subdivision application for 2 lots, set public hearing date for 12/16/20. We have a bunch of 12/16, so I'll do all the 12/16.
Those, Mr. Chairman, these have already been set. These are just kind of reminders of what's coming up.
So Ocean Co wants to play music. Gary Burkle, special permit for accessory apartment. Has Amy Guilford been tabled to February 3rd? So we're doing that right now?
Nope, that has been done as well.
Okay.
Did she submit any more information,
No, she's working on a zoning board of appeals application,
Okay.
which
So
is why it would need to table to February.
So new applications being received are William G. Butterly III, CO Boston Partners, 500 Durham Road, map 128, lot 1, zone R8, special permit, section 27336A for 1,077 square foot antique barn and 556 square foot shed. Set and public hearing date for 12/16 by a consensus vote. If you let us do that for 12/16, why don't you just raise your hand? We good on that? Thank you. By consensus vote, it is set for the 16th. Stephen Vergadamo, Caro Bailey Building, 122 Seaside Ave, map 24, lot 5, zone R3, coastal site plan application for demolition of existing house and construction of new family home. Receive and set public hearing date for the new year, our first meeting, 1/6/21 by a consensus vote. Will you raise your hand to accept that? Thank you very much. Let the record note, those are all unanimous. Okay. Garrett Sullivan, 439 Boston Post Road, map 49, lot 25, zone TS, site plan application to convert retail play cafe into preschool use with installation of associated fencing area. Receive. We're not receiving and taking action, right? Well,
Correct. This is just a receipt. The applicant has been advised to submit some additional information. And he has requested to attend a staff meeting to discuss some ideas with staff. And so you do have 65 days to act on a site plan application without any extension. So at this point, we're just going to leave it open.
Okay.
And we'll probably have a better idea as far as a date
Got it.
to take action, but we'll keep it on the agenda and keep you apprised of his progress.
Thank you. Whitfield and Water Shops LLC, 55 Whitfield Street, map 39, lot 94, zone C1, site plan application to construct 20 by 26 pavilion over existing outdoor dining area. Receive and table to 12/16/20 by a show of hands. Is everyone okay with that? Thank you. Let the record show it's unanimous. Other commission business, I had a chance to review the minutes. Did anybody else? And anyone note any
Yes.
discrepancies?
No, sir.
Okay,
Substantially correct.
thank you. By a show of hands, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes? Thank
So
you.
moved.
Sorry. We got a motion second. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Let the record show it's unanimous. Now, Aaron, you want to explain to us authorize issuance of citations for 15 Highwood Drive zoning storage of commercial vehicles in a residential zone?
This is an active violation. A cease and desist order was issued in the beginning of November. This is a complaint based action for a commercial tree business, parking of trucks, vehicles, equipment, split wood, employees coming and parking on the property during the day, leaving in the trucks and coming back at night. I do have from an abutting property owner a complaint, and I have not received any response from the property owners regarding the notice of violation.
Aaron, can you enlighten us as to where this is?
This is right off of Long Hill Road, just past New England on the east side. It's the first house on the corner of
So it's
Highwoods and Long Hill.
Before you take the turn to go to the high school coming up Long Hill Road, correct?
No, it's past.
Okay, just past that.
It's past that on the right and connects down to in the Mirror Lane neighborhood.
Yeah.
So question, we had authorized in years past the former zoning enforcement officer to issue fines and citations. Do we need to reauthorize this for each cease and desist, or is that
The
still
regulations, right, the regulations allow for if on an individual basis, if that the commission can then authorize the issuance of citations as a further enforcement action if they fail to respond.
Are they clearly in violation of the code?
I'm sorry, what was that, Sean?
Are they clearly in violation?
Of the zoning regulations?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, then I would authorize fines, yes.
And that's my request.
Good.
I think you're just trying to memorialize this in front of the commission. Is that correct?
That's fine. I'll do a quick roll call vote on that one. So all in favor of authorizing our zoning enforcement officer to actually enforce the zoning code, please vote. John Cosgrove.
Aye.
It's language in the regulations.
Scott Edmund,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Alan Brown,
Yes.
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes. Go get him, Aaron. Or at least see if
Thank
you can
you.
get him to comply. How about that? I don't want to be
That's
mean.
the goal.
All right. Would someone like
Aaron, if they do not comply, if they don't pay this fine, what are the next steps?
Their daily fines would end up with liens, essentially. There are methods of potentially, for really bad violations, either taking them to court, which is slow. Housing court is another option.
How much are the fines?
It's
Up to what?
$150 a day.
Did you approach him before and talk to him about this?
I didn't know, I mailed them notice, both certified and first class. And I have not had any response
Didn't
from them.
respond.
Nope. Okay. With
Yeah.
no further business before the commission, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Phil, can I say one thing, Phil?
Absolutely, George.
Phil, I want to just comment about the J.J. Sullivan and Seibert issue. Obviously, whenever you have a heavy industrial use, and that's what this is, adjacent to residences, there's a potential for conflict. But one of the things that my understanding has occurred perhaps several times over the last couple of years is that there have been substantial trees fallen along the property line and in the rear of the Seibert's property as a result of the various extreme storms that we've had in the last several years. And that's resulted in a significant loss of the buffer between the back of the Seibert's property and perhaps others on Fair Street and the J.J. Sullivan site. So I think that's really what's going on here. Obviously the canopy itself, isn't a major structure itself. It's probably not going to be all that visible. I think, in my opinion, that, the reaction is really more to the fact that that the landscape has changed so significantly over the last several years, and there've been some pretty major tree losses in that area, and that's kind of what's led up to where we are today with this.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they can develop a screening plan themselves that affords them some additional visual protection.
George, is that a buffer zone, those trees, or was those trees just grow there wild? In other words, is it a requirement for them to have a buffer zone behind that with trees? Or is this just?
No, I think
it just grew wild?
The trees were primarily property, I believe. And they're, I think many of them are or were, 100 years old or so. I mean, these are major trees. I can't say exactly how many or how big they were, but they weren't part of the Sullivan site plan approval, if that's what you were getting at.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know if there was a buffer zone between the residential and the commercial with trees.
No.
With no further business before the commission, would someone like to make a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
I like that. By a consensus vote of showing of hands, all in favor? Bye, guys.
Yes.
Have a good evening. I'll see you on the
you.
16th.
You too. All right.
Bye.
Good night.